Hello and welcome to Tech Talk, where we're going to be answering your questions all about things having to do with technology and integration into education. This month, we're going to be taking our artificial intelligence talk that we did last month and expanding it on AI favorites that can be used with students and for you in the classroom. Last month that we met, we were talking about how AI works, what we can do with it, some of the large language models. So I'm wondering, how are you embracing or thinking about AI right now? Well, if you're not sure, we're going to dive into some resources that are fantastic for educators as well as students to start using in the classroom. Let's quickly review some of those large language models that you could use to start using for prompts. There's Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Bing or Copilot, which is from Microsoft, and Google Gemini. There's so many more out there, and I'm going to give you some resources of ones that are age appropriate for middle school and high school students to start using, as well as an option for you to model and use with elementary students. When we start thinking about prompts and being able to use these large language model tools, we want to really get the best output that we are hoping for. So here's some tips for effective prompt engineering, basically. So here's an example of what a less effective prompt would look like. So just a lesson plan multiplying fractions for fifth graders, all the way over to a very effective prompt where it's going to give me much more interesting, engaging activities for my students, where I give the background of the role of who I am, what I'm exactly looking for, what my students' interests are, and something that requires some hands-on activities or collaboration. And you're going to get a totally different type of response. So have fun with it, try it out on those large language models, and see what the difference looks like for you. If you're having trouble coming up with some prompts that are giving you effective output or generating content, try out some of these links that I've attached here. There's a prompt library from AI for Education, as well as a must-try ChatGPT prompts for teachers. I'm also going to share with you some more resources from Eric Kurtz, which are fantastic for differentiation, as well as other fun hands-on activities. One of my favorite resources to use to demonstrate to students how to effectively prompt engineer before we even dive into ChatGPT is Google's Say What You See from Google Arts and Culture. So once you go in, you'll see something like this. So on the left, you'll see a picture, and you can play this with students as well, or just practice by yourself. And on the right, you have to type in exactly what you see, being very descriptive. So I put a bowl with a red rim that has ramen noodles, a hard-boiled egg, some diced green onions, and some other greens in broth. And let's see how close we get to recreating that image on the left and having a successful output. Okay, not too bad. We had an 85% match, and it looks pretty close to what we saw. You can try something like this with your students to help them come up with some effective prompts and really teach them about all the details that are needed in order to find out what your role is, who you are, not personal information, but what you exactly do kind of thing. If I'm a ninth grade student, if I'm an eighth grade student doing some history, whatever that may be, and then also telling it what kind of output you want to get. That's going to give you the best prompts and the generated content when you're done. Sometimes the best advice for anything is, of course, not recreating the wheel. So we want to thank Eric Kurtz and definitely give him a shout out for being able to create these AI resources for educators. So I've included these, and we'll give you the link to this resource so you have all of these. But you'll see that there's great resources of how to teach students about AI, as well as writing differentiated prompts for student learning. I'm going to demo what some of those are going to look like in some of those tools that are favorites for AI. Here's an example that I took from that differentiation prompt. So here I'm describing exactly my role. I'm an excellent teacher with expertise in differentiating content. So right now I'm going to look for a topic for fifth grade math. We're doing measurement conversions. I want the students to be able to convert different volumes and length measurements, and we're just starting this unit. So for this one, I'm looking for some choice board activities. And this is all prompt that I kind of took and remade for myself. And then from there, ChatGPT spit this out for me. It gave me 4 different activities: an interactive game, a conversion sheet where no tech is required, a scavenger hunt, which sounds like a lot of fun, as well as a recipe conversion. So I wanted a little bit more detail though. I think those sound like great ideas, but I definitely need it to help me out along the way. So I asked it to provide links to that measurement game, asked it to actually give me a list of resources for students to find in and around school to convert and measure and all those things. And then also provide me a recipe for chocolate chip cookies that will give me a table for students to convert and fill in the blank to make those different conversions. Wow, this is pretty amazing. Now, I knew this was going to happen with the internet. So it will tell me it can't search the internet, but it does give me some great resources. So it said, check out Khan Academy or PBS Learning Media. Look for a game titled Measurement Conversion. Okay, I'll check it out because I know that AI can sometimes have fake information in it, but it sounds pretty convincing. I'll just have to fact check it. When we're talking about the scavenger hunt, here's the table I was looking for. These are all things they could measure and be able to find out how much gallons, volume, liters, etc. that these things hold that I could do in the school. And then here is the way to convert it to. They could put that amount there. I could copy that and use it, and they could fill that in. Here's the actual chocolate chip cookie recipe. Wow, it looks pretty much like the one that I make at home. So I'm pretty impressed. And then here it's going to have them with that table that I asked for, take each of those different ingredient amounts and be able to convert it, if applicable, to the different ingredients that are there. So this is pretty interesting and really awesome. So you'll notice I did not stop at one prompt. I continued to ask for more clarity because I really wanted to create this. Now I might ask it for one more thing, and I might say, create the choice board table for me to share with students. Okay, let's see what happens. So it should give me those 4 options. Okay, and it's going to put it into a table for me. And here it's even going to tell them, of course, what materials are needed and what skill level it's for. And then I could modify this, of course, for all of my students. Now, remember, this is just one large language model. You'll notice that if you try Google Gemini or Microsoft Copilot or Claude or Perplexity, you may get different responses. But the reason I wanted to demonstrate this is as we move into AI educational tools that are some favorites out there, I want you to know that at the back end of all these educational tools that are coming out and growing every single day is that they're using OpenAI or they're using Claude's Anthropic or whatever it is as their data set that they're pulling that information to. Now, what makes them intriguing to educators, though, is the amount of time it takes to create these prompts. So let's move a little bit past our large language model prompting and move into some of those favorites next. Before we head out to the land of all the AI educational tools, I want you to know that your students do not have to be 13 or over to use this tool to learn how to kind of start prompt engineering and talking to a chatbot. It's from codebreakeredu.com/chat, and it's called Byte. And what's great is there is no login. Kindergarten students, first grade students could really start to just play around with this, as well as having you model that for kids, even modeling it in front of them on an interactive board and having them be part of that conversation process to continue asking prompts, getting information is a great way for them to start learning about AI and artificial intelligence and how it can be used for good. So check out Byte. It's a fantastic tool with no age restrictions or no logins. I'm going to take a moment to model some of these different AI tools from this choice board. So I put together this choice boards of some of the favorite AI tools educators have been sharing with me, and you'll be able to go ahead and click on it. It's a Google Doc. It has the links directly to these websites and these resources. And sometimes there's even a little teacher guide or a tutorial video to check out. So let's dive right into the choice board, and we're going to take a look at Magic School first. All right, Magic School. It is a fantastic resource and a huge time saver. Yes, there are two different versions, of course, the free version as well as a premium version, but I want to just show you all the different magic tools. So, some of my favorites that I have bookmarked here are the project-based learning one as well as the student work feedback. But there's so much more that is included in here. We have planning resources for lesson plans or other types of activities. We have rubric generators, math story problems. We can come up with different types of questions. One of my favorites, the YouTube video question, as a great exit ticket for maybe something that you're introing in class to the students. There's communication tools when we're talking about report cards, IEP writing goals, of course. We have some professional email communication tools and so much more. So I'm going to demo to you something in my output history. So this was something that I've done recently. And so I was having students do a VR kind of intro to the life in the trenches of World War I. And so I took that YouTube link that they would actually be viewing in the VR headset and put the link in and told it that I wanted 5 questions that were open-ended. And here is what it created for me in a matter of seconds. And then it even gives me the answers and where they're found in that video. Now, this is a great way for the students to be accountable for what they were viewing and also start to understand it. But that's just one version. So here's another activity that I did. So I was coming up with an activity for 3rd grade perimeter and area. And I wanted it to kind of review things that they've learned. So here it came up with some questions for me. But then I also could prompt back to this. So Raina is the chat bot that's similar to ChatGPT. And I said I wanted to create 10 more problems at different levels. It did it at different levels. And then from there, I could even say exactly if I wanted it to be a specific thing that students were interested in, like spring sports or anything of the nature. So there's all kinds of great things you can do with it. What is highly, highly intriguing to people, so let me go back to that YouTube video question 1, is when I'm ready to take that and I want to use it, I could definitely say, so I'm going to go ahead and generate it again. Over here on the right, there's these 3 dots that come up. And what makes this really exciting for educators and the amount of time that it saves is when you click that, you can export it out to Google Forms, a doc, you can put it in a Microsoft activity, you could print it. So it makes it very, very fast instead of having to go to copy, open up a new doc, or et cetera, and do this. So the other exciting part before we jump out of here is the Magic Student piece. So when we talk about students starting to utilize and understand how to use AI, they have a whole piece in there. I'm going to go back to here, click on Magic Student, and you can see that you can assign or give them access to specific tools. And then once I give them access to those specific tools, okay, I can be able to go in and I can monitor and exactly see what my students are being able to participate in. So it's a really awesome way to moderate and monitor their interactions with these chatbots before maybe we move into ChatGPT and the older grades. So check out Magic School. The free version is definitely something you should be able to see all the different things that it's available to you. If you'd like to see what Magic Student looks like as a student, scan the QR code or go to the link above and put in the special code here. You'll have access to some of those tools that I provided in the sample class, and I'm excited to see what you think. One of my next top favorites is called School AI. And what I love about School AI is you can have many tools available just like you saw with Magic School, but you'll also find that they have some spaces or activities that you can utilize to have your students join and interact with a chatbot. So again, what is great about this is they are not using a Google sign-in. It is not age restricted. It is compliant for those student data privacy pieces. So go to the Discover tab, check out what they have. So they have some great things for history. But what I love even more is that they even have a collection for younger students, because I think we need to start young and move up through the grades, right? So giving everyone access to learn how to use this the correct way. So let's say I click the younger students one, and let's say we're doing, let's do the tail of Peter Rabbit. It's a perfect one. And so when I am looking at the already created spaces, I can go ahead and preview it. So that way, before I send it out to students, I can see. The other great piece, you might say my first graders can't read what is being said back to them. School AI has a speak button that will read to them. And then when they respond back to that, they can hit the speech to text button and interact and start learning how to do some prompt engineering response and asking questions. Here's the piece I also love about this, okay, is once I add that space and want my students to participate in it, I can see their interaction. I can click on their name. I can see exactly what they said back and forth to that chatbot, which is pretty awesome. So let's say you want to try this. You'll come over here and say launch. Then what you'll see is a link. So if you're using a learning management system like Google Classroom, you can copy and paste it. Or if your students have iPads or a device, they can scan the QR code, put in the code, and then they're ready to go. So check out School AI. There's so much more than just those little pieces. If you say, you know what, I want to create my own space, you can do that. And you can put in the specific content that you are covering with your students, give the exact details, upload even pieces of that information, maybe PDFs that you have as handouts, etc. But check out School AI. It is free. There is a little limit for the number of students you can have participate every day, but it is definitely something that you could try and use. So give it a try, see what you think. Again, if you want to try this out as a student, scan the code, go ahead and put in that code that's there, and then you can interact with my exit ticket all about AI. If you're looking for more or ready for more AI tools to help you in your journey and education with your students, check out the bit.ly link here. It will take you to a spreadsheet that has a lot of different educational AI tools. But remember, the background of each of these tools is the prompts and the pieces that you would get from ChatGPT or Claude. So the data is pulling from the same place. If you can be a super prompt engineer, you don't have to pay for those tools if you can really get it down to a science. So check it out. Hopefully this will help you out in your journey. Thanks so much for joining me for this month's Tech Talk. What will you explore and try with AI next? To get the resources and be able to click on these activities, go to bit.ly/all caps WGTE and then lowercase AI faves. Have an awesome day, everyone. Take care.